Hello, I'm Sonia Thompson, Community Content Manager for SupplySide, and I also volunteer for WIN, that's Women in Nutraceuticals. This recording is part of WIN's sponsor celebration series, where we highlight different voices from the many sponsors who continue to support the organization. Informa is a platinum sponsor, and this time I get to talk with one of the most knowledgeable people I know within the industry, my dear colleague Fran Schonwetter, who is the Director of Content Marketing for SupplySide. So welcome, Fran, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Sonia. I'm very happy to be here with you.
So we've got a few questions to go through. The first one is, how does WIN's mission align with your company's values and goals?
Well, WIN's mission of helping to support the achievement of economic and social equity in the nutraceutical industry, I think fundamentally is, first off, I'll say the reason that I'm in the industry myself and supporting what we do inside company. The purpose of the nutraceutical industry as a whole is to provide and support health equity. I've been in the industry for many decades, and I've taken many forms in my roles in the industry. And working for Informa, and now in the supply side vertical specifically, we really have this opportunity to accelerate the development of products that support health equity and making those choices. Women are not only an important part of our leadership organization, women are an important, probably the most important part of the market as a whole. Ultimately, when we're producing products to create more opportunity for ownership of health, it's women that are taking the responsibility for their families, for their own health, and purchasing those products. And I've never felt like I've needed to stray from that core mission of driving equity by being part of a company that produces events and creates media. I think that we get the opportunity to leverage those powerful vehicles to continue to drive this fundamental mission of equitability and empowerment for all people, but particularly putting women at the front of the table.
Yeah, well said. Second question for you. What specific initiatives or programs has Informa, SupplySide, implemented to foster gender diversity, and what results have you seen so far?
Well, we mean what we say when we say we care. As a corporation, I mean, Informa is a very big company with over 13,000 associates, and we play in lots of different verticals. But a core value underlying the entire corporation is informed by policies specifically related to diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And we don't shy away from that, and we're not pulling back from that. There are quite a few initiatives inside the corporation that drive that, from inside market initiatives to bring guest speakers in to raise awareness and educate associates about the needs of underserved or maybe underspoken people, looking at gender disparity and inequity in different environments. Different industries express that differently. In our place of nutraceuticals and health and nutrition, I already stated the importance of inclusivity in what we do, because we are really the developers and the consumers of these products. But directly at our events, we have a gender equity mixer at every event. We really elevate that. Again, we don't shy away. We lean into the need to talk about things that are challenging for people to talk about. I'll even tell you a quick quick sidebar story of something that happened personally to me at one of our shows on the East Coast, at our Supply Side Connect show, not this year, previously. We're very mindful about what people can put on their identification and their badges, and always allow
Mm-hmm.
for fluidity there so people can self-identify their own preferences in terms of how they're addressed where gender is concerned, whatever pronouns they prefer. And I had somebody challenge me on the show floor, actually. It was a guest. Like, why are we doing that? I know that, like, I identify as she, her. And the person said, well, I know that you identify that way. And I really had to defend our position, our power position there, to be able to respect each
Yeah.
person that is a visitor and attendee, in any way at all of our events, that it's important that people have that opportunity to express who they are and lean into that. So, there's a lot of small touch points and there's some big touch points. I mean, we have major policies around inclusivity in our company, and we live it. And we invite an environment that supports women leaning into leadership. So we can talk about that a little bit more in a minute.
Yes, great. Okay, next question is, what advice would you give other CEOs or leaders who want to make their organizations more diverse and inclusive?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, I would just point to the statistics. I mean, women leaders make organizations effective. And there's plenty of data out there, and I'm not going to cite specific studies, but there's plenty, and it's easy to find. Women empower workers. They empower the working environment. They support people in owning their own success. And that creates successful organizations. Rather than, generally speaking, taking a top-down approach, women's style of leadership tends to be inclusive in and of itself, and they create work environments that people want to work within. Women make great leaders because they create safe culture. They are inclusive, and they're generally more empathetic. And if empathy isn't part of your organization, the organization is going to have some illness. Women support creative thinking, out of the box. These are generalities, but I think they're very relatable for anyone that's a woman in leadership, and for those that are observing that. They tend to focus on the collectivity, bringing up solutions in a collaborative environment, maybe a bit less ego driven. And ultimately, a healthy work culture supports satisfaction for people working within the organization, for customers that interact with you, which is great for your business. And it provides a sense of ownership for anybody that's working within an organization. And, as they say, rising tides raise all ships. And, success has to beget success. So my advice is, look at women in leadership with an open mind, and allow that tide to rise, and see the results flourish from there.
That's some great advice, Fran. Anything else that you would like to add today?
Yeah, it's hard for me to not, state anything about history. Here we are in the present, and diversity, equity, inclusion is under some attack on the outside, but I think it all comes from the inside. We have to keep pressing forward. I've worked inside industry for quite a few decades now, without putting any date stamps on it. But I've seen cultures in small businesses and large change, because they are seeing the the power of having women in leadership in driving success for their companies and organization. And there's so much work still to be done, but we have come a long way. We can't be complacent, and we have to keep demonstrating results and not be afraid to challenge power and power structures. So I'm just delighted to be part of the natural products industry in all its different guises, shapes, and forms, and be a woman in leadership in the nutraceutical industry.
You're here. Thank you so much, Fran, for your awesome insights. And thank you again, Supply Side and Informa, for continued support of women in nutraceuticals.
Thank you.